All right, let's dive right into this. Today, we're exploring the profound importance of true merit and genuine virtue, what some profound traditions call kwamsomkhang kwambunjing kuzonte. We are unpacking a philosophical text that literally upends how most of us think about doing good deeds. We're looking at the massive, fundamental difference between conditional charity and authentic, liberating virtue, which the ancient texts call true merit. If you've ever done a favor and felt strangely unfulfilled, or if you're just curious about the deeper, metaphysical mechanics of karma, you are in exactly the right place.
To kick things off, picture this shocking historical encounter. Emperor Wu of Lang had spent an absolute fortune of his kingdom's wealth building grand temples, sponsoring monks, translating sacred texts. By all worldly standards, the guy was the ultimate philanthropist. So when the great sage Bodhidharma arrived, the emperor eagerly asked him, "Hey, how much spiritual merit have I earned from all these monumental deeds?" And Bodhidharma looked right at him and simply replied, "No merit."
Zero, nada. Absolutely nothing. I mean, can you imagine the shock? This encounter forces us to ask a really paradigm-shifting question. Are your good deeds actually holding you back? Is the very act of being good trapping your ego if you're doing it for the wrong reasons? The text we're analyzing today argues that yes, absolutely. It suggests our everyday understanding of charity is deeply flawed and honestly, way too transactional.
To get to the bottom of this, we'll walk through 5 key concepts: the illusion of goodness, defining true spiritual merit, traps of the human ego, the power of true merit, and finally, cultivating authentic virtue.
Okay, let's start with part 1, the illusion of goodness. The source text shares this wild story about an old woman who lived by a river where tragically people frequently came to jump in and end their lives. At first, she saved them purely out of the goodness of her heart. But soon, the community starts praising her, and the local authorities actually start giving her cash rewards for her heroism. It became this lucrative side hustle. But eventually, people stopped jumping into the river, and instead of being relieved that lives were saved, the old woman gets frustrated and complains, "Where did all the suicidal people go? I have no business." It perfectly hits the nail on the head. What started as pure compassion mutated into a selfish transaction the second a conditional reward was introduced. Which brings us to part 2, defining true spiritual merit. So if saving a literal human life isn't inherently meritorious, what is? Well, the source texts are incredibly specific here. True merit, or authentic virtue, is defined as doing good purely from your original spiritual nature. It has to be completely empty of ego, devoid of attachment, and totally free from any expectation of reward. No money, no fame, not even a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's about being the ultimate anonymous benefactor, or as the text beautifully describes it, putting gold leaf on the back of the Buddha statue, where literally no one will ever see it.
It's absolutely crucial to understand the contrast here. Worldly merit operates on a ledger. You do X, you expect Y. You seek fame, you expect good fortune, you want respect. But true merit, that operates entirely on purity and emptiness. The text emphasizes that if you're seeking a reward, what you get is just temporary worldly fortune. It has a strict expiration date. True merit, though, stems from an awakened, pristine inner nature. To actually achieve this, the philosophy outlines a heavy concept called the 3 spheres of emptiness. This means that in the exact moment of giving, true spiritual giving requires total detachment. You have to forget the concept of yourself as the giver, you must forget the identity of the receiver, and you literally have to detach from the physical gift itself. If your mind clings to even one of these 3 things, the text says it's not true merit. It's just a worldly transaction wearing a charity disguise. All right, part 3, traps of the human ego. Let's bounce back to Emperor Wu for a second. Why did Bodhidharma give him such a harsh answer? Well, the text explains that Emperor Wu fell face first into the trap of karmic ignorance and profound arrogance. By keeping a scorecard of his good deeds, he just inflated his ego. He genuinely thought he could buy spiritual liberation with material wealth. The source explicitly warns us here. When spiritual practitioners start thinking, "Oh, I've saved so many people," or "Look how much I've donated," they breed this dangerous arrogance. And that arrogance actually destroys their virtue and traps them even deeper into worldly illusions. Moving right along to part 4, the power of true merit. So, if we manage to avoid those ego traps, what are the actual metaphysical rewards of cultivating genuine virtue? There's this classic, beautiful anecdote in the text to illustrate this. Once there was an incredibly poor woman who visited a temple. She had absolutely nothing to her name, but she somehow scraped together a mere 2 coins to donate. But she gave them with a completely pure, humble, and devoted heart. The temple's abbot, sensing the profound purity of her spiritual state, actually came out to personally lead the prayers for her. Now, fast forward, because of the positive karma from that incredibly pure act, she eventually becomes quite wealthy. She returns to the same temple, eager to show off her new status, and arrogantly drops 1,000 coins. But this time, the abbot doesn't come out. He just sends a young novice monk to quickly pray for her. When she indignantly asks why, the abbot tells her, "Before, your donation was small, but your heart was entirely pure. Today, you brought 1,000 coins, but your mind is full of pride." It brilliantly shows us that in the spiritual realm, your inner purity matters infinitely more than material quantity.
And why does that purity matter so much? Because, as we see here, true merit is the only currency that actually works on a metaphysical level. Worldly merit just buys you more worldly stuff, which simply keeps you tied to the material world. But true merit is the only tool capable of clearing those vast accumulated karmic debts from past lives. It's the literal fuel you need for escaping samsara, that endless, exhausting cycle of rebirth, and achieving ultimate spiritual liberation. You just can't buy your way out. You have to empty your way out through pure virtue. Finally, part 5, cultivating authentic virtue. So, the big question. How do we actually do this in our daily lives? The source outlines a super clear, actionable path. First, you must practice giving unconditionally. And I mean unconditionally. No expectations of a return. Don't even wait around for a thank you. Second, practice genuine repentance. The text notes that true repentance isn't just saying sorry. It's using your inherent spiritual wisdom to cleanse your mind of impurities and all that past karmic baggage. And third, you have to completely let go of resentment. A true practitioner dedicates themselves without ever complaining or playing the victim. It's about maintaining a steady commitment to goodness no matter what happens. Ultimately, all of this practice culminates in what the text calls the 5 types of pure giving. This is the gold standard. It's when your actions are driven entirely by pure compassion for others, equanimity, meaning fairness to all beings, sympathetic joy for the success of others, absolute purity of intention, and a profound, overarching gratitude just for the opportunity to help. When you give from this state, you aren't trying to build a brand or a reputation, you're simply allowing your enlightened nature to flow outward.
It completely reframes our entire moral compass, doesn't it? It strips away all the superficial layers of philanthropy and demands absolute inner honesty. So I want to leave you with this lingering thought to chew on today. The next time you step up to do a good deed, big or small, who are you really doing it for? Are you feeding your ego, or are you actually freeing your spirit? Thank you for exploring this profound text with me today. Keep seeking clarity, and I'll see you in the next explainer.